West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can tell I must be on a 1 week's break from my work because I'm recording this on a Monday. Yes, in 24 hours, I will actually be on a plane to Antigua. I'm going to be doing some work for Talk Sport, obviously Caribbean Cricket Podcast work as well, covering that series, certainly the Antigua leg of that series between West Indies and England. So look out for the content from about, Tuesday night onwards. You can find us on X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, OnlyFans, all of them. Look for all of those social media handles and we will be there giving you all the behind the scenes or something like that in Antigua. Anything you want to see, people, anything you want to see, send us a message in the comments below for this particular video. If you want to support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, because I'm telling you now, it weren't easy getting out to Antigua. www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. Any little bit helps and counts. I've got one last remaining CCP sweatshirt for sale. When I say for sale, all you have to do is cover the postage and packaging and I will send it wherever it needs to go in the world. If you live in Antigua and you want that sweatshirt, get at me in the comments below and I will bring it. I'll pack it in my travel bag and I will bring it. All you have to do is just tell me where to meet you in Antigua or come to the game itself and I will give you a CCP sweatshirt. So, yeah, let me know, people. One of those ready to go. We got some CCP beanies that are currently in production, and they will be ready and available probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So hit me up again if you're interested in one of them. And you can see I'm wearing the CCP test cap, the limited edition test caps. Some people are telling me to run another line of these, maybe. If you're one of the few who got the CCP limited edition ODI or test cap, then lucky you. But anyways, this video isn't even about West Indies. This video is all about Super 50. And you could be forgiven for wondering what the hell is Super 50, because there has been little to no kind of promotion of Super 50 anywhere. At the time of recording, you will be shocked to know that Super 50 starts tomorrow. The first game, I'm giving you the UK times, between Trinidad and Tobago and CCC starts at 1 o'clock, so literally 24 hours from now, 1 o'clock UK time. And then there's a day-night match between Guyana and the Windward Islands. So if you're one of the West Indies fans or cricket fans within the region who's like, what, Super 50 starts tomorrow? Yep. And who has been marketing it? No one. Who has been promoting it? No one. But you can trust CCP to care about all manners of cricket that goes on in the region. So I figured I should make sure I do a video about Super 50, because all the while that West Indies are playing England, Super 50 is going on day in, day out. Don't get twisted. And it's based in Trinidad. Don't get twisted, people. I'll be doing content on it. We'll be doing content on our handles. We ain't forgetting this tournament, because at the end of the day, we've just had an ODI tour of Sri Lanka. There's many, many holes in our ODI side. There's many, many spots available to be filled. Go and watch our last video that Santoki and I recorded yesterday about that tour of Sri Lanka. Plenty of spots available. So strong performances in this year's Super 50 should open up some spots certainly in the short term for the Bangladesh series, which starts late November. The test side, and then into December for the limited overs stuff. So anyways, I've got all the squads together, because a lot of people have been atting us on the social media handles going, where can we find the squads? Where can we find them? They don't seem to be anywhere in one place. I am fairly certain that Cricket West Indies, by the time this comes out, and probably a few hours after this comes out, Cricket West Indies will put out some kind of press release saying, here are the confirmed squads. But people don't want to wait for that. They want the news now. So here it is, people. Let me just put it up on here. We're going to go through each of the squads, people. Okay? Some of them are the actual media releases from the actual teams that have got a kind of media team behind them. Territories, sorry. Others are me typing the names into a PowerPoint because that's what you have to do in West Indies cricket. So first things first, the T&T Red Force. They will be captained by Joshua Da Silva. As you can see, vice captain is Carrie Pierre. So just running through these names, apologies for any mispronunciations. This is the team as I last was told. Josh, Carrie Pierre, Amir Jangu, Jason Mohammed, Jid Gooley, Tion Webster, Brian Charles, Kieran Otley, Isaiah, Raja, Terence Hines, Anderson Phillip, Yannick Carrier, Mark Dayal, and Joshua James. And what I'm going to do for each of the teams, I'm not going to go into some like massive, deep analysis of each team, because that's not what the point of this video is. This video is more to just put all of the teams and squads in one place so everybody throughout the tournament can go, who's in this team, who's in that team. Trust CCP to have it down for you lot, right? Let me put myself in the corner. Is that better? No, that's covering the team. Let me go back. Hey, what the? Oh my. Here we go. So, anyways, so that's the team. And what I'm going to do for each team, particularly for those fans who are from overseas, or maybe you don't know that maybe you're in the Caribbean, but you don't really understand the depth of talent within each particular territory. For each team, I'll just tell you who you should look out for. I'm going to just do a prediction. So, I think what I'm looking out for in this T&T side, the one to watch is always the youth man pick. Now, T&T traditionally don't pick youth men. The only youth man in this T&T side is Joshua James. Everybody else is very, very experienced at the T&T stage. Even someone like Jid Gooley, who hasn't played that many matches for T&T, but he's got enough cricket behind him. He's 26, 27 now, right? Obviously, Jid had a good first-class season. Amir Jangu had a good first-class season. But they're not youth men in the traditional sense. So the one to watch from a youth man perspective is obviously Joshua James, the all-rounder. I don't know, and I don't see how he gets into the first-choice 11. Certainly not at the start of the tournament. But if they can find a way, there's 7 games to play. If they can find a way to give group games, that is, if they can find a way to give Joshua James some matches, that would be very, very good. So he's the one to watch. In terms of wicket takers, who you should be looking out for, remember this is 50 overs. We're not talking about first-class cricket. I'm intrigued to see how Anderson Phillip goes. West Indies need strike bowlers. I want to see how Anderson Phillip goes in the List A format, because a good 50-over tournament from him would put him in West Indies contention. Based on what he did for Lancashire at the back end of the county championship season, he should be in contention for the test side in terms of the next cab taxi off the rank. But a good season for him would certainly put him in contention for the ODI side. So I'm looking, as a wicket taker, I'm looking at Anderson Phillip. Obviously, some people call Yannick Carria's name, because he's a leg spinner, and people want a leg spinner to show up at the international level. I don't know where people stand on Yannick Carria, but he's there. He'd taken some time out the game for 6 months, which is why some of you haven't seen him for a bit, but he's back now. And then in terms of run scorer, the person I'm looking at actually is Jangu. I want to see if Jangu can continue his form that he showed in the first class season, because I think there might be a stop. But Jid Gooley and Amir Jangu, if one of them puts up runs this season, there's a chance. There's a chance for them to force themselves into West Indies reckoning. So that's what I'm looking at from a T&T perspective. That doesn't mean I'm not considering Josh. It doesn't mean I'm ruling out someone like Mark Dayal, etc. They're all in the thinking. They're all good players. That T&T side is actually very well balanced. But I'm just giving you the names that I'm looking for to make an impact this season. Moving on. You can't even see this team. Sorry, people. I should have made this a bit bigger. Let me see one. If I do my screen bigger. Oh, yeah. You lot can see if you do your screen a bit bigger. But I'm going to have to record this with a bigger screen for me to see my own team that I put up. So CCC. So the team is as follows. Now, for those who don't understand CCC, in fact, why am I telling you for those who don't understand? Because I don't understand. The first thing you lot should notice from CCC is that 50% of the squad are Bajans. I've got a big issue with that. I know that it's the kind of concept of CCC is based in Barbados, so there will naturally always be a kind of Bajan, not bias, but certainly there'll be more players coming out of Barbados in CCC. But when CCC was first established as a team. It was supposed to be, my understanding of CCC is that you're supposed to be enrolled in a course at uni. All I want to know is, are all of those players enrolled on some tertiary course at university? What uni courses they're allowed? Sorry, that's a lie. Sorry, that's worse. No, it's not a lie. That's a bit of an exaggeration. Cricket West Indies hold the rights to pick 4 senior guys to help the CCC team. So looking at that squad, Shamar Brooks must be there as a senior guy. Kieran Powell must be there as a senior guy. So that's 2 of the slots. Is Mansingh there as a senior guy, or is he enrolled on a uni course? Similarly, Akeem Jordan. Is Akeem Jordan there as a senior guy? But then is Johan Jeremiah there as a senior guy? So what's not clear to me is who are the senior guys. I've been told that CCC are allowed 4 spots for senior established talent in the region who can help these youth men who primarily are at university develop their skill set. The rest of them should all be on some kind of uni course. I don't know how fast and loose Cricket West Indies or CCC are playing with the metrics of this, because of course this is the Caribbean. Information doesn't come out confirming this unless somebody goes looking for the information. Everybody watching this episode, all the stakeholders in West Indies cricket, because I know everybody watches CCP, all the players, someone message me and tell me who in this squad is actually at university. What are they studying? I don't care what they're studying, but are they even studying anything? Who are the senior players apart from Powell and Brooks? And why are there so many Bajans in the team? But that notwithstanding, there's some good players in there. So top run scorer. Jeremiah had a good time of it last time round for Windward Islands, did he not? So I'm intrigued to see how Johan Jeremiah goes. Obviously, he's there as vice captain. Jonathan Drakes will probably think he should have been in the Barbados Pride squad anyway. So if I had to pick one to watch from a run scorer perspective, I'm looking at Jeremiah and Drakes. If I'm looking at a wicket taking perspective, a lot of people have been talking to me. Obviously, he played in CPL as well. A lot of people have been talking to me about Machel Govaya. Okay, I mean, I haven't watched enough. I didn't watch enough CPL to know anything proper about him, but a lot of people have been mentioning his name to me. Obviously, Jamaican bias here, but I want to see Mansingh do well. I think that Mansingh should be the next leg spinner that West Indies invest in. If they're done with Walsh and they're done with Yannick Correa, then the next person should be Mansingh, in my opinion. So I'm intrigued to see how Mansingh and Govaya go. Romario Greaves, I mean, I saw him in first class championship, Goodrich first class championship. These Bayesian players are good. Shakir Paris, obviously, we saw him in CPL with Trinidad. He also played for CCC last year. So there are some good players there. In fact, this CCC squad may well be more competitive than people think. In terms of the one to watch, I think we have to look at Shakir Paris. I think we have to look at him because of what he did for T&T in CPL. Let's see if he can translate that over to Super 50 cricket, List A cricket, and let's see how he goes with that. Moving on to the Leeward Islands. So Leeward Islands Hurricanes, captained by Jimbo. Justin Graves, the Bajan, is the vice captain. Obviously, he's played ODI cricket for West Indies as well. Interesting to see Chesney Hughes there, former county cricket stalwart in England. He's playing for the Leeward Islands. I need to go and find... Let me make this screen smaller again. I need to go find out how young or old Chesney Hughes is, because I've got a point I want to make here. So Chesney Hughes is 33 years old. That's... Listen, by West Indies standards, that makes Chesney Hughes a Ute man. So at 33, who can rule him out if he has a good season? I like this Leeward Islands squad. Obviously, Mikhail Louis just come from America. He played that National Championship League T20 tournament in America and seemed to be scoring, or was it T10? I can't remember. But either way, he was hitting 6s and 4s all over the place. O'Shane Thomas obviously ducked out of Jamaica. He has a contract with the Leeward Islands. Let's see how he goes. Jeremiah Louis is there, of course. Kofi James is there. A couple people have been talking to me about Kadeem Henry. They've been mentioning Kadeem Henry to me. He's a new guy. I don't know too much about him, but I've had his name mentioned to me. In fact, a lot of this Leeward Islands squad, Willett, Henry, Clark, Dimitri Adams. I don't know too much about them. Kadeem Henry's the only one that I've had people mention directly to me and say, watch out for this guy. But from a West Indies perspective, so this is what I'm saying, top run scorer or run scorer you should be looking out for, Machel Louis. It's got to be Machel Louis. If Machel Louis scores runs in list day cricket, yes, he will go straight into a West Indies consideration. Why wouldn't he? He's in the test team. He just played CPL and had a good time of it with the down bad, St. Kitts side. So I think we should be looking at Machel Louis from a run scoring perspective. From a wicket taking perspective, I guess we got to look at O'Shane, haven't we? If you watched our last episode on the ODI tour of Sri Lanka, I made that point that 3 series ago against India, O'Shane was in that squad. 2 series ago against England, O'Shane was in that squad. 1 series ago against Australia, O'Shane was in that squad, and now he's not in the squad again. So what are we doing with O'Shane Thomas? Is it that they've looked at him now and they're like, he's not the one? But again, there's this whole kind of myth around O'Shane Thomas. Get him up to full speed, full fitness. There are very few in the region outside of Shamar and Alzari who can bowl as quick as him if O'Shane has any control. Or do we have to now move on past O'Shane Thomas? But I've got him in my wicket taker column just to see if we should still have any stocks remaining in O'Shane Thomas. And then one to watch. Who's my one to watch in this side? Who's my one to watch in this side? Kadeem Henry, only because I've had people that I respect in this cricket thing tell me watch out for Kadeem Henry. So only because I've had people tell me about him and they know their cricket, watch out for Kadeem Henry, people. Let's move. Guyana Harpy Eagles. I must say first things first with the Guyana Harpy Eagles squad, the Runsford Beaton has been replaced by Niall Smith. That I can only go on what the press release that was sent to me, which stated that Runsford Beaton did not turn up for 2 different fitness tests with the squad, so therefore he has been replaced by Niall Smith, who is only himself just recovered from injury. Only in West Indies cricket can you have this level of madness take place. But there are questions to be asked about Runsford Beaton and his action. Did anyone clear it? Did anyone clear it before he was selected for Harpy Eagles? That's all I want to know. That's not a criticism thing. I just want to know because information hasn't reached me around that process. Anyways, let me move on. I mean, the Harpy Eagle squad kind of writes itself. Guyana are one of the strongest squads in the region. They always will be one of the strongest squads in the region. Even when you take out their West Indies players, they're still a strong team. In terms of top run scorer, people to look out for, I'm looking at Kevlon Anderson. I'm looking at Kevin Sinclair. I'm intrigued to know where they're going to bat Sinclair. Obviously, Sinclair scored a ton of runs in the first class championship earlier this year. Then Mark Wood broke up his hand in England, right? So Kevin's not really been about it since Mark Wood broke him up. So I'm intrigued to see where Kevin Sinclair bats and if he can regain that batting form. But Kevlon Anderson's the main one I'm watching. Possibly Tevin Imlach as well. But with Tevin Imlach, I'm watching his strike rate more than the runs he's actually scoring. From a wicket-taking perspective, I've moved past Chemo Paul, you know. I move it. I don't know about Chemo Paul no more, you know. I'm looking at Isaiah Thorne. He's still a youth man. Obviously, Isaiah Thorne's only 19 years old. He's a youth man in this thing, but I want to see I want to see if in list day cricket he can rough some people up across a 7-game, potentially semi-finals, finals tournament. So I'm looking to see what Isaiah Thorne can do. Yeah, and then the one to watch. Technically, Isaiah Thorne should be the one to watch. I'm going to say Ronaldo Ali Mohammed is the one to watch. He played under-19 cricket for West Indies. Similar story. Similar story to a lot of kind of youth men in our region where you track their story and it's like, oh, he played under-19 cricket for West Indies, right? So Ronaldo's now 26, right? So let me just get his information up again. He played in the 2018 Under-19 World Cup for the West Indies, right? The one after we won it. And West Indies, that was the same tournament where Alec Athanaze was the top run scorer in the tournament. Where did we come in that tournament again? I don't think we even got out the group stage. Yeah, we didn't even get out the group stage in that tournament. But the point is, Ronaldo played in the Under-19 World Cup. And it's a similar kind of youth man story where it's like, oh, he played in the Under-19 World Cup. And then something happens where they enter the twilight zone between the age of 19 and 25. And then at the age of 25, 26, you suddenly see these guys again. And you're like, oh, where have they been? How much cricket have they been playing? And then you look at their stats and it's like, oh, they've played about 2 first-class matches between under-19 level and suddenly get into 25, 26. That is the story of West Indies cricket. But he's my one to watch. I want to see what Ronaldo Ali Mohammed can do in this Super 50 if he makes the squad. We shall see. Jamaica. So Jamaica have had a bit of politics being going on. I was told that originally Brad Barnes was the captain for the Jamaica team, and it led to some uproar around nepotism arguments and so on and so forth. I won't get too into it because if I get too into it, by the time I try to visit my parents in the next summer, they won't even let me into my own country. So let me just shut my mouth on that. People in Jamaica cricket, you done know the story already. Anyways, John Campbell's back from his drug enforced ban, and he's immediately captain of the side. And he's the obvious person to watch from a run scoring perspective. There's always been that thing around John Campbell where he scored that big century in Ireland back in 2019 and has barely played an ODI since. I think it was that partnership with him and Shea Hope in Ireland. Was it against Bangladesh or was it against Ireland? Can't remember. Anyways, I'm looking at John Campbell. I think all eyes will be on John Campbell because if John Campbell scores a lot of runs in Super 50, it probably puts him immediately into test consideration as well going forward. So we'll see what John Campbell's form is saying, having returned back to first cricket at the regional stage. From a wicket-taking perspective, I've had a few people in Jamaica that I respect talk to me about the Ute man Redwood. I believe he's a leg spinner. I've had a few people who I respect tell me that he's one worth watching. So I'd put him in the one to watch bracket if he gets some game time. But the wicket taker that I'm looking at, I'm probably looking at OJ Shields. OJ Shields, we spoke about him on the England tour, probably in the region, other than the guy Tyson. Other than Tyson, I think that Shields might be the quickest in the region. Again, played some cricket in the first class season for Jamaica. I want to see how OJ Shields goes. So yeah, that's the Jamaica side. I wouldn't expect Jamaica to be competing for the title, but they've changed head coaches. Robert Haynes is now in the setup for Jamaica, so let's see how they go in this current Super 50. Windward Islands, so you can see that Gillon Tyson, the guy I was talking about, my people in Windwards have told me that he is the quickest bowler in the region. So he's immediately my one to watch. I've had a lot of people talk to me about Gillon Tyson. So those of you who are going to be watching on ESPN, if it does show on BT Sport TNT in UK or YouTube, watch Gillon Tyson, please. And let's see if he lives up to the hype that I've been constantly told about in terms of his pace. He's my one to watch. In terms of run scorer, is Sunil Ambrish due a goal for West Indies? Is Kavem Hodge due a goal? Anybody's due a goal, you know, because our ODI side is so down rotten that anybody who puts together any kind of runs across this Super 50 has an argument to say to Darren Sammy, what about me? So run scorers, I'm looking at Sunil Ambrish and saying, if you have a good season, Sunil, maybe you should be getting another callback to the West Indies team. Sunil Ambrish is always there or thereabouts. So he's the captain of the side. Kavem Hodge, if he puts together a season, because he's now with the test squad and he can bowl left arm darts, there's an argument to say that he could force his reckoning in if he has a good Super 50. Wicket taker, I'm looking at Shamar Springer. I'm looking at Shamar Springer as my wicket taker, just because Springer's in a rich vein of form right now. Had a good CPL. Had a good first-class season earlier this year, has been called up into the West Indies T20 side. Didn't really get a proper go of it, but called up to the West Indies T20 side. I think if Shamar Springer has a good Super 50, he'll get an ODI call-up as well. I see that Carlton Bohr is the Windward Islands Volcanoes assistant coach. I went to school with Carlton Bohr. That's a story for another day. Carlton, if you're watching this, big up yourself, yes. But yeah, we move. Let's move on. The Barbados Pride squad. So they're captained by Carl Mayers, which is very interesting. It's always interesting because obviously Barbados have such an array of talent. It's always interesting to see which of the kind of senior guys make themselves available when it's time for a regional championship. Obviously, Jason's not playing. Craig's maybe realised he shouldn't be playing in the 50 over team. Kimar doesn't need to play, just to name a few of the kind of Bayesian senior stalwarts. But Carl Mayers is there, which is very interesting to me, and he will captain the side. In terms of one to watch, from a youth man perspective, Kadima Lane is the obvious option. And Barbados Pride set up, if you're listening, let Kadeem open. Let the man open. Okay, we saw him be destructive for CCC when he was playing for CCC earlier this year. I think he played for CCC in Super 50 last year as well. So Kadima Lane, I want to see him open. He's my one to watch. Destructive opener at the top when he gets going. Wicket taking perspective. I don't know, I don't know. Chamar Holder is still working his way back to where he wants to be. I'd love to see Chamar back where he can be. I'm talking about the Chamar Holder who deservedly got a West Indies call-up when we toured New Zealand off the back of, 35 wickets in the first-class championship. He's not there yet, but he's working. He's working on his game. He's trying to get back to where he once was. So I hope Chamar Holder has a good time of it in Super 50, but we shall see. It's all about load management for Chamar, so we'll see. And then in terms of run scorer, I mean, surely Carl Mayers himself is saying, I should be in the West Indies ODI squad. Surely Carl Mayers is thinking that. Should look at the ODI squad that went to Sri Lanka, and can people truly look me in the eyes and say Carl Mayers can't get into it? So a strong season from Carl Mayers, and providing he wants to play ODI cricket, he gets back into the squad. So I'm looking at someone like Carl Mayers, and I'm also looking at someone like Kevin Wickham. We've seen Kevin Wickham score runs in the first-class season for Barbados Pride, one of the few people in the region who at this stage is probably averaging in and around 40. Former West Indies Academy guy who has promoted himself and is now a pick in his actual home franchise. He's also somebody I'm looking at a run scoring perspective to see if he can translate first class form, red ball form, into white ball. So I want to see how Kevin Wickham goes for sure. And then lastly, the West Indies Academy. So I found out overnight that there's been two changes to this West Indies Academy side. Nathan Edward and Mavindra Dinyal are currently out injured. I don't know if that will mean they're injured for the whole tournament, but certainly as of me recording this, those two have been replaced. Let me just find my tweet because I tweeted it earlier on. Those two have been replaced by Nimar Bolden, who scored loads of runs in the Barbados Elite League One division. He has been called up, and Andrew Rambaran from Trinidad has also been called up. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I swear Rambaran has either been with CCC before. I swear he's been with CCC. I swear I've seen him batting for CCC before. So those two are in the West Indies Academy makeup at this point in time. In terms of one to watch, Nathan Edward would have been my one to watch if he wasn't injured. So I'm looking at Matara. Matara, leg spinner out of Barbados. He was playing for CCC last year or earlier this year. He's got potential. Possibly should have been in the under-19 World Cup team, but he's a youth man. He's only 18. So I'm looking to see how Zishan goes, if he's part of the final 13 in the as a one to watch. Wicket taking wise, I mean, Joshua Bishop's going to bowl down plenty, man. I feel like we've learned everything we need to learn about Joshua Bishop. So with respect, if Josh is watching this, that's not because I don't rate you. I think you've already proven yourself. Like, Joshua Bishop should be in the Barbados Pride team. But I know Joshua Bishop's going to take wicket, so he's not the one that I'm having as my wicket taker. I think the wicket taker I'm looking at is possibly Jediah Blades, or somebody told me it's not Jediah, it's Jediah. Is it Jediah? Somebody told me I pronounced that wrong. So if it's Jediah Blades, he played for CCC last year as well, but more importantly, he's a left arm pacer. Again, youth man, early in his development, but I want to see how he goes with his left arm pace, because there's not a lot of them. Obviously, there's Nathan Edward, but he's injured. So I want to see how Blades goes. And then from a run scoring perspective, the main person I'm looking at is Akeem. It's got to be Akeem or Geese, simply because Akeem got his chance in CPL. Darren Sammy and backroom staff at St. Lucia invested in him for the whole tournament. And to an extent, he repaid them. Run rate wasn't anything really to write home about, but he showed that he can be a bit of a glue guy in terms of just letting the big hitters bat around him in T20 cricket. Arguably, he should be able to expand his game or take that same attribute into the 50-over format. So I'm intrigued to see how Akeem goes with the West Indies Academy. So people, that's been a bit of a run through. Hopefully, like I say, for most of you, you're probably like, thank God CCP listed all the squads, because nowhere else can I find all the squads. This is why CCP will always be important. Whenever anybody says to me, you chat too much, listen, we're doing things that people should be doing themselves and no one's actually doing it. So CCP, we always got you. We always got you out here. So in terms of, let's wrap this up. In terms of who do I think will win? I think what you've got to look at first and foremost is who's got the most balanced squads. I think T&T do. In fact, I think this is a fairly... Do you know what? Forget T&T for a minute. I actually think this is a fairly evenly matched Super 50. Yes, it's being played in Trinidad. Historically, Trinidad and Tobago tend to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest, Super 50 side. But I think this one's relatively well matched here, from Leewards to Windwards to Barbados to Guyana to Trinidad. The only teams I think definitely can't win are West Indies Academy won't win, CCC won't win, although I think CCC might upset a few teams this year, and Jamaica won't win. Those are the only three teams that definitely won't win Super 50. So the other five, take your pick. Okay. Any questions as ever, get in the comments below. CCP content, we can't stop, we won't stop. On the way out, like, share, subscribe, find us on all the social media handles. Just go to Google, type Caribbean Cricket Podcast, and everything will come up. Or go to our website, www.caribbeancricketpodcast.com, and you'll find all the handles that you can go to find our content. And like I said at the start, if you'd like to support our endeavor, www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. Any little bit helps and counts to keep us doing what we do. Listen, people, I've been Machel St. Patrick here at one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. The next time you see us do a video, I'll be in Antigua, so look out for that. I'm supposed to be at the ground, Sir Viv's ground, on Wednesday morning. Got some interviews lined up. Supposed to be speaking to Shay, amongst other people. Hopefully none of the players bash me round the head with their cricket bat. That's going to happen one day, but maybe not yet. Anyway, see you all soon, people. I've been Machel St. Patrick here on half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Thank you.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.